Hi, boys and girls, it's Miss Sullivan. Today we are going to be reading a Mexican Cinderella story, Adelita. So, going with our theme of survivor and overcoming things, a lot of you have heard at least the Disney version of Cinderella, right? And we know that Cinderella, or in this case, Adelita, overcome a lot of obstacles. So, I hope you enjoyed the story. Because this story is a Mexican Cinderella story, it has Spanish phrases throughout the story. If you see that the story is italicized, in the back of the back of the book, it gives a list of these Spanish phrases and how to say it, as well as what it means. If at any point in the story you don't understand what something means, you can go back to the beginning portion of this video so that you can understand what they are saying. The first one is hace mucho tiempo, which means a long time ago. Estamos esperando un bebé. We are going to have a baby. Me hace muy feliz saberlo. I am so happy to know it. La casa de lleno de alegría. The house was full of happiness. Les tengo noticias. I have some news. Que frías son. They're cold ones. Importantes momentos juntos. Special moments together. Es natural. It's natural. Entre lágrimas y abrazos. Amid tears and hugs. Maldad y vinegar. Meanness and vinegar. Mi hijas. My daughters. Una fiesta en su hacienda. A party at their ranch. Se rumora. Rumor has it. Y punto. That is final. Capricho. Whim. Soy yo. Only me. Mi pequeñita. My little one. Un sueño. A dream. Cuarto de las storeroom. Rebozo. Shawl. Mi mamacita. My little mother. Vamos. Let's hurry or let's go. Centena. Cinderella. Gracias. Thank you. Mijita. My little daughter. Zapatilla de cristal. Glass slipper. Hoy mismísimo. This very day. Pásele, por favor. Come in, please. Buen día. Good day. Príncipe. Prince. Muy felices por siempre. Happily ever after. Mexican Cinderella Story. Adelita. By Tome de Paulo. Hace mucho tiempo, a long time ago, in a village in Mexico, there lived a merchant named Francisco and his beautiful young wife, Adela. One day, Adela said, Francisco, estamos esperando un bebé. We are going to have a baby. Adela, Francisco said, me hace muy feliz saberlo. I am so happy. Then he said, we must send for Esperanza. She will come and take care of you until the baby is born, and then she will help us with the baby. Esperanza had been with the Mercado family since she was a young girl, and she had looked after Francisco when he was a baby. What is the author's purpose in adding Spanish words and phrases? For example, from this page, hace mucho tiempo, a long time ago. Estamos esperando un bebé. We are going to have a baby. Adelita, which is the Mexican Cinderella story, is set in Mexico. Mexico's official language is Spanish, so the author is setting the scene by putting in Spanish words. Esperanza came right away. She took good care of Adela, but after the birth of the baby, Adela was ill. She grew weaker, and shortly after, she held her little girl for the first and last time. Quietly, she died. Francisco was heartbroken. He named his baby daughter Adelita, little Adela, after her mother. Francisco was sad for his Adela and he missed her greatly, but gradually Adelita filled his heart with love. Time passed and Adelita grew into a beautiful young woman. La Casa de Mercado se llenó de alegría. The Mercado house was full of happiness. One evening, Francisco called Adelita and Esperanza to his study. My dear Adelita, my good Esperanza, les tengo noticias. I have some news for you. I've met a charming woman and I have decided to marry again. Her name is Senora Michael de la Fortuna. She is a widow and has 2 daughters close to your age, Adelita. I know you will like Donna Michaela and her daughters, Valentina and Dolce. Adelita was happy for her father. Esperanza wasn't so sure, especially after she met Donna Michaela and her daughters. Que frias son! They're cold ones, Esperanza said. What does the author mean when he calls Donna Michaela and her daughters the cold ones, and in Spanish, que frias son? When Esperanza refers to Donna Michaela and her daughters as que frias son, or the cold ones, she's not referring to their temperature and saying that they are actually cold in temp, but rather she's referring to their personality. Someone that's cold is often unfriendly, not kind, or not someone that's welcoming. Life was happy but different. Adelita had to share her father's attention, but they still managed to have importantes momentos juntos, special moments together. Adelita didn't mind that Donna Michaela favored her daughters even though Esperanza complained. It's natural, it's natural, Adelita told her. Then suddenly her father died from an illness, and everything changed. Poor Adelita was an orphan. Donna Michaela had always been jealous of Adelita. Now she no longer had to hide it. She moved Adelita from her beautiful bedroom to a small room in the attic. No longer did Adelita have new dresses. She had to wear hand-me-downs. Worst of all, Valentina and Dolce were mean and hateful towards her. Adelita began spending all her time in the kitchen with Esperanza. She helped her with the meals. She listened to stories about her father as a boy and her mother as a young bride. Because she knew that Esperanza loved her, Adelita's heart stayed as warm as the fire in the hearth. One day, Donna Michaela came to the kitchen and spoke to them. I am spending too much money in this household. From now on, you, Adelita, will work in the kitchen. You are here all the time anyway. And you, Esperanza, out. I want you to leave immediately. Oh, Senora de la Fortuna, please don't send me away, Esperanza pleaded. I've been with this family since I was a girl. I will work for no money, just for a place to lay my head and a bowl of beans and a tortilla. Oh, please, Mama, Adelita begged. Esperanza can share my room and my food. Out, shouted Senora Michaela de la Fortuna to Esperanza. What is one character trait of Donna Michaela? Support your answer with evidence from the text. A character trait of Donna Michaela is that she is unkind. I know this because in the text it says, out, shouted Senora Michaela de la Fortuna to Esperanza. This tells me that she kicked Esperanza out even though they pleaded and begged and came up with solutions to keep her. Then, in an icy voice, she spoke to Adelita. And don't you dare call me Mama again. I am Donna Michaela to you. She turned and left, nose in the air. Entre lágrimas y abrazos, amid tears and hugs, poor Esperanza said goodbye to Adelita and left her with her meager belongings. Adelita was in despair. The days ahead held nothing but loneliness and hard work. Adelita had to prepare all the meals, clean the rooms, and fetch and carry for Valentina and Dolce, who became more like maldad y vinegar, meanness and vinegar. Hijas, my daughters, Donna Michaela said one morning as Adelita was serving breakfast. El Señor and la Señora Gordillo have sent us an invitation to una fiesta en su hacienda, a party at their ranch, to celebrate the homecoming of their son, Javier. Ooh, mama, Valentina and Dolce twittered. And, Donna Michaela said with a smile, rumor has it that he will be looking for a wife. The daughters nearly fainted. Secretly, each wanted to be the wife of Javier, and each would do anything to get him. Donna Michaela, Adelita asked as she poured the hot chocolate. May I go too? I knew Senor Javier when we were young. I would love to see him again. Are you serious? Donna Michaela asked. Look at you, so poorly dressed, such a dirty face. I would be too embarrassed to have you in our company. You will stay here. Y punto. That is final. Adelita went back to the kitchen. How are the character motives for attending the party different for Valentina and Dolce versus that of Adelita? The character motives for attending the party are very different. For Valentina and Dolce, they really want to marry Javier. In the text it says, and each would do anything to get him. Remember, there's a rumor going around that he's looking for a wife. While Adelita solely wants to see an old friend. In the text it says, I knew Senor Javier when we were young. I would love to see him again. Next days were busy. Adelita did not have a minute to herself. Washing, pressing, sewing ribbons on, taking lace off, at the mercy of every little capriccio whim of the sisters, and each tried to outdo the other. So when Donna Michaela, Valentina, and Dolce left for the fiesta, Adelita went to the kitchen and sat by the fire. Suddenly disappointment swept over her, and she began to weep. She missed her father. She missed Esperanza. She missed being at the fiesta. Tap, tap, tap. She heard a soft knock at the door. Who is it? Adelita asked. Make a prediction. Who do you think is at the door? Yo, only me. It was Esperanza. Oh, Esperanza, I have missed you so much, Adelita cried. Don't cry, mi pequinto, my little one, Esperanza said. I am here. I had un sueño, a dream, that Donna Michaela would not let you go to the fiesta, so I have come to help. I have borrowed a cart to take you there. But I have nothing to wear, Adelita said. Come with me, Esperanza said. They went to the Cuarto de Teliches storeroom. Over there, behind those boxes, is your mother's trunk. The key is behind the crucifix. Adelia unlocked the trunk. Inside she found an old-fashioned, beautiful white dress. Under the dress was a magnificent rebozo shawl embroidered with birds and flowers. Oh, mi mamacita, my little mother, Adelita whispered. Adelita washed and dressed. Esperanza braided her hair and wound ribbons and flowers into it. Oh, Esperanza, Adelita said. Donna Michaela will be furious when she sees me. Don't worry, she will never recognize you, Esperanza assured her. Now vamos, let's hurry. The fiesta had already begun when Adelita arrived. She walked into the room. Everyone turned to look. The room fell silent. Who was this stunning young woman? Senor Gordillo went up to Adelita. Who do we have here? He asked. In disguise, Adelita said with a twinkle and a sweet smile. Just call me Sensentina, Cinderella. Javier, everyone, Senor Gordillo said. Come meet our very own Sensentina. Javier took one look and fell in love. He danced every dance with Adelita. He brought her refreshments. He never left her side. Adelita's heart was full as well, and all the meanness she had suffered over the years began to melt. But at midnight, when Javier gave her a sweet kiss and declared his love, Adelita was frightened. How could she explain who she was? His family would never allow him to love a kitchen maid. Adelita ran away and found Esperanza. They hurried home. I will never forget this night as long as I live, Esperanza, Adelita said. Gracias. Thank you. If you ever need me, mijita, my little daughter, just call my name and somehow I will hear you, Esperanza told her. The next day, all Donna Michaela and her two daughters could talk about was the mysterious Sensitina, who had appeared and then disappeared from the fiesta just like the fairy tale. They were jealous of her beauty and even more jealous because they knew that Javier had fallen in love with her. I'm glad no one knows who she is, Valentina said. Or where she is, Dolce said. And no zapatilla de cristal, glass slipper, Donna Michaela added. Javier had told everyone that he would not rest until he found his Sensitina. He is coming to town hoy mismino this very day, Donna Michaela announced. He will stop at each house and look for her. This is a chance to show once more what charms you have, my daughters, so prepare yourselves. Who knows, maybe one of you will make him forget this Sensitina. Adelita, they screamed, come help us quickly. I will be right there, Adelita answered, but before she went to Valentina and Dolce, she ran to her attic room and hung her mother's rebozo out the window. Why do you think Adelita hung her rebozo or shawl out the window? She helped the two sisters dress. Then she went back to her room and shyly peeked out the window. Soon she saw Javier coming down the street on his horse. Suddenly he saw the rebozo. He jumped down, ran to the door, and knocked. Senora Michaela de la Fortuna opened the door. Ah, Senor Javier, pasele por favor. Come in, please, she said. Senora, where is she? I know my love is here, Javier said. Do you mean one of my daughters? Donna Michaela said. Valentina, Dolce, come here. Senor Javier, would you like to see you? The sisters appeared in the doorway, giggling foolishly. Buena dia, good day, Senor Javier, they chimed in unison. Do you remember us? Are you looking for us? Yes, ladies, I remember you, Javier answered, but it's another that I'm looking for. There's no one else here, Donna Michaela said. Yes, there is, a voice said. Are you looking for me, senor? There was Adelita standing at the top of the stairs in her mother's dress and rebozo. My Sensitina, Javier said. Who? What? What's going on? Donna Michaela asked when Valentina and Dolce looked at Adelita in astonishment. It's only Adelita, Donna Michaela, Adelita said as she came down the stairs. Only Adelita? Who are you? Javier asked. I am Adelita Mercado Martinez. We knew each other when we were children. Adelita, of course I remember you as a little girl, Javier gasped. I am so happy to have found you again, he smiled. I have come to ask my Sensitina to marry me. Will you? I am an orphan, Senor Javier, Adelita said. Perhaps you should ask Donna Michaela if she will give her permission. Will you, Senora? Javier asked. Why, I don't know. I don't know. What? I mean, well, of course. We shall be honored, Senor Javier, Donna Michaela said. Valentina and Dolce glared at Adelita. Then it will be, Javier said, taking Adelita in his hands. In her sweetness, Adelita invited Senora Michaela de la Fortuna Mercado and her daughters, Valentina and Dolce, to the wedding. Of course, Esperanza was there too. She was going to take care of Javier and Adelita just as she had done before. And just like Sensitina and her prince, we shall live muy felices por siempre, happily ever after too, Javier said, and they did. Remember, compare and contrast. Compare is how they're similar, and contrast is how they are different. In this example, we will be comparing whales and fish. If you notice, in the red circle, it's everything about whales, and in the blue, it's about the fish. While in the center, it's what they have in common, similar, or the compare. So the contrasts are going to be the out portions of the circle, while the compare is on the inside. Now it's time for us to try it with our story, a Mexican Cinderella story, Adelita, versus that of Disney's Cinderella. For today's extension activity, you're going to need the Adelita compare and contrast sheet from your ACES packet and a pencil, and if you're going to decorate your carriage, you can use some crayons, colored pencils, markers, and if you'd like to cut it out, you can use some scissors to cut it out. So our directions read, compare and contrast the Cinderella story of Adelita and the Disney Cinderella film. Fill in the carriage below. Left will be Adelita, center will be both, and right will be Disney. So with everything, we're going to want to label our compare and contrast. So I'm going to show you down at the bottom. It says fill in the carriage left is Adelita. So I'm going to write Adelita. The center is your compare. It's going to be both. And then the right is going to be Disney. Yours should look something like this. Okay, I'm going to come up with one for each. And if in the story they both have an evil stepmother. Both Adelita and Cinderella have an evil stepmother. So in the both category, compare, I'm going to write an evil stepmother. How they're different is in the Disney film, right? Cinderella is found through a glass slipper. So I'm going to write glass slipper. While Adelita, she was found with her mother's shawl, right? She hung it outside the window, and Javier saw the shawl, and that's how he was able to identify that it was Adelita. Okay. So for Adelita, I wrote shawl. For Disney, I wrote glass slipper. Now for you, try and come up with 2 or 3 more on your own in each category. Compare and contrast, and then color it and let us see some pictures. Make sure you're using the hashtag #WeAreMalika. See you next time.